for airport investment. Cincinnati has testified if they don't get a PFC increase, they could end up raising the cost per employment 50%. But if PFC was increased, it would be only 15% for the CPE. So as an airline, how do you all make a choice between the cost of employment cost versus a PFC if you're choosing between a 50% increase for a CPE compared to a 15% increase to a CPE?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think what's missing in that math is the actual PFC itself. So while I'm not sure how the math works out, but an increase in 50% in CPE excludes the existing PFC. And if you instead increase the PFC, you would have to only increase CPE by the amount to finance that PFC-related debt. So I think the funds are fungible. And so what we're talking about is an increase in fees and taxes on the traveling public to finance infrastructure. What my testimony was earlier is that it's our belief that we can more efficiently deliver low fares with more efficient use of assets. And so when the cost of the infrastructure is delivered in the form of rents and landing fees, our model in and of itself makes that more efficient to the customers on Spirit Airlines. And that's what's most important to us.
Can I be clear? Did you call the CPE? Did you say that was a tax on the traveling public? Is that what you meant to say?
No, I'm saying that that's a cost to the traveling public because it's a part of our core cost structure. That's correct.
Yeah, Ms. McGraw, do you have something to say on that? Okay, great. So, Mr. Crowder, there was a discussion earlier about bonds. And whether or not you should have more bonds, or they have a 5-year time frame or some other time frame. Can you just remind us how you all repay any bonding?
Right now, that's through the PFC. And that's the way that we have put together our chart that was submitted to the committee to illustrate that the PFC would be committed at the current 450 to a total project cost of $342 million, which effectively would take that PFC out almost 38 years. So if you're 18 years old going through my terminal building, you'll be paying that till you're about 56 years old.
All right. Back to Mr. Christie. Just want to use you while you're here. So a few weeks ago, I visited BWI, and several years ago, BWI used PFC funds to invest in a high-capacity baggage screening system that was created specifically to help Spirit expand. It seems like a great example of lower-cost airlines directly benefiting from PFCs to expand capacity. Is there an inconsistency with generally the airlines not supporting PFC increases when you directly benefit from the uses of those projects? Or how would you help me understand that?
Sure. Thank you for the question. While there are instances, no doubt, where PFC funding did create additional facility space for carriers like ourselves to expand, the PFC in and of itself, because it is a fixed amount and charged on every passenger, is a one-size-fits-all address approach. And we think that there can be more dynamic looks at how you create more capacity at airports. And as I alluded to in an answer earlier, I think that introduces a much broader conversation around competition at airports. With the mergers over the last decade, we now have 4 airlines that control 80% of the capacity in the United States. And I think that's a much more complex issue that a PFC in and of itself does not address.
Maybe worth exploring in the future as well. So I want to thank the witnesses for their testimony. Your comments have been very